Welcome to the AI Hub, a podcast for AI-driven side hustles designed for IT professionals like you.
From cutting-edge AI tools to practical, no-nonsense tips, each episode brings you closer to turning tech into income.
Tune in to discover smart and sustainable ways to boost your career and income with AI.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to AI Hub. I'm Larry, your host.
And I'm Amanda.
And we are ready for another deep dive into the world of AI.
That's right. And today we're focusing on DeepSeq.
DeepSeq. Yeah, this Chinese AI company that's kind of been like exploding onto the scene.
They've been making waves, that's for sure. With their new AI model R1, it's already integrated into platforms like Amazon Web Services, even Microsoft's cloud.
It's wild how quickly they've become a competitor to these like major players. You know, we're talking OpenAI, Google, all the big names.
Yeah, it really is remarkable how fast they've risen. But with that rapid growth comes, some concerns, some safety concerns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of what we wanted to dig into today, right? Like, what are those concerns and why should we be paying attention?
Well, one of the biggest red flags came from Anthropic.
Oh, yeah, Anthropic.
Yeah, they do these safety tests on different AI models. And they really focus on how easily these models can create information that's like, pretty harmful things you wouldn't just stumble upon on Google. And they've been particularly concerned about bioweapons.
Bioweapons, wow.
Yeah. And DeepSeq's model didn't really perform well in these tests.
What do you mean by didn't perform well?
Well, Dario Amodei, who's Anthropic's CEO, he actually called DeepSeq's model the worst they've tested.
Oh, wow.
When it comes to generating this sensitive bioweapons information.
Okay, that's unsettling.
And what's even more concerning is that their model seems to have no blocks in place to prevent it.
So like nothing stopping it from just churning out this information.
Yeah, which raises some big questions about, DeepSeq's approach to safety compared to these companies that have maybe been around a little longer and had more time to think about these issues.
Right, like are they just not as safety conscious because they're newer, or is there something else going on there?
That's a really good question. It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely adds another layer of complexity to this whole situation.
Yeah, and it's not just the bioweapons thing that's worrying people.
Yeah.
Cisco security researchers, they found that DeepSeq's R1 is also really vulnerable to jailbreaking.
Jailbreaking.
Yeah. Like tricking the AI model into creating harmful or restricted content, basically bypassing those safety measures.
Oh, I see.
And the thing is, Cisco found a 100% jailbreak success rate with DeepSeq's R1.
100%. So like every time they tried, they could get it to...
Yeah, they were able to make it generate all sorts of stuff about cybercrime and other illegal activities. It's pretty scary.
Wow, that's a big red flag.
It is. It really is. I mean, they tested other models too, like Meta's and OpenAI's, and those had high failure rates, which is good.
Right.
But a perfect score in the wrong direction is definitely a cause for concern.
It does make you wonder why DeepSeq's model is so vulnerable. Is it just like a design flaw, or did they intentionally prioritize functionality over security?
It's a good question, and I think it speaks to the larger question of, are we rushing into this new era of AI without really understanding the risks?
Absolutely. It's like we're on the edge of something incredible, but potentially very dangerous.
Exactly. So now the question is, what do we do about it? How do we mitigate these risks without stopping innovation altogether?
Right. Are there even ways to do that? And are we prepared for what this technology could mean for society, ethically and everything?
These are all huge questions, and I think that's what makes this whole DeepSeq situation so fascinating and a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, it really is a unique case study in the challenges and opportunities of this new AI landscape.
And it's a story that's still unfolding, so we'll have to see what happens next.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on it, that's for sure. So one idea being tossed around is like restricting access to certain tech, like Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic. He's been pushing for stricter export controls on those advanced chips to China.
Right, the ones you need for this powerful AI.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. Trying to slow down the development a little, give us time to sort out the safety stuff.
Exactly. And buy some time to, develop those safety protocols and ethical frameworks. But it's tricky.
How so?
It could stifle innovation and collaboration too, right? If we restrict access to the tech, are we also holding back progress?
Yeah, that's the dilemma, isn't it? Balancing progress with safety.
Exactly. It's a tough one. And this whole thing, it really highlights those geopolitical tensions around AI. Like, it's not just a tech race anymore. It's a global power struggle with some seriously high stakes.
And it's not just governments freaking out. We're seeing companies and organizations getting more cautious about DeepSeq too.
Yeah, for sure. They're weighing the pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Like some organizations are switching to other AI models, ones with better safety records, even if it means sacrificing a bit of performance.
Makes sense.
Others are implementing stricter guidelines internally, like oversight mechanisms,
Yeah.
just to make sure everything's being used responsibly.
It's interesting how this is pushing everyone to think about their role in all this. Like AI development and deployment, it's not just some abstract thing happening in a lab. It's impacting everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And it brings us to this kind of ironic twist in the DeepSeq story. Remember how we mentioned Amazon being Anthropic's biggest investor?
Yeah, the ones pouring money into AI safety research.
Well, guess what? Amazon is also the driving force behind Amazon Web Services, and they're one of the platforms that's integrated DeepSeek's R1 model.
Wait, so they're investing in both sides?
Kinda, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a weird situation, right?
That's a serious paradox.
It is. On one hand, they're supporting safer AI with Anthropic, but then they're also giving a platform to DeepSeek whose safety practices are, raising eyebrows.
It makes you wonder what their thinking is. Like, are they just compartmentalizing these investments, or are they trying to, steer AI ethics by working with everyone?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they've said they're committed to responsible AI, but their actions are sometimes a little contradictory.
It definitely adds another layer to this whole saga. Like, it's a real-world example of the ethical dilemmas we're facing with AI, the conflicting priorities. And I think it shows just how important transparency and open dialogue are.
Oh, absolutely.
We need companies like Amazon to be clear about their stance on AI safety and actually show how they're putting those principles into action. It can't just be lip service. These issues need to be baked into how these technologies are made and used. What do you think?
I completely agree. We need to move beyond those vague statements and actually see how companies are handling the ethical side of AI.
So we've talked about the concerns with DeepSeek, the potential ways to address them, and the role of companies like Amazon. But what does it all mean for us? The average people using AI every day.
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The reality is we're all part of this huge experiment. Whether we realize it or not, AI is everywhere. It's in how we shop, how we get information. And with companies like DeepSeek popping up, the stakes are higher than ever.
It feels like we're at a crossroads. Like, do we just sit back and watch AI advance, hoping for the best? Or do we try to actively shape its development, make sure it's used for good?
That's exactly it. And that's where informed people like our listeners come in.
Right? It's not just up to the experts and the tech giants.
Yeah.
We all have a responsibility to make sure AI is developed ethically and responsibly.
And I think the first step is just awareness. The more we understand about AI, the better we can make informed choices and demand accountability from the people in charge.
I love that knowledge is power, especially in this field. And that's what we're all about here at AI Hub, making these complex topics accessible to everyone.
Because ultimately, the future of AI is in our hands. We have to be informed, engaged, and willing to ask the hard questions.
Absolutely. So what's your final thought on DeepSeek in this whole situation? Will they crash and burn because of the safety concerns, or will they keep rising despite all the red flags?
I mean, it's tough to say. They're definitely under a microscope now.
Yeah.
And the pressure is on for them to actually address these safety issues. But they've also shown they're really good at the tech side. And they have support from some big names.
Yeah, it's like we're watching a thriller play out in real life. Will they step up and become a responsible leader? Or will they become like a warning, a cautionary tale? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, DeepSeek has changed things. It's a reminder that this is all new territory. And the choices we make now have huge consequences down the line.
Yeah, for sure. It's forcing us to face some tough realities about how fast things are moving with AI and how much we need those safety measures in place. It's a wake-up call for everyone in the industry.
It makes you think bigger picture, doesn't it?
Well,
DeepSeek is just one example of what we're dealing with this tech. It's a global competition with really high stakes. We can't just sit back and relax. So to everyone listening, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
Absolutely. Like we've said, the future of AI is in our hands.
Perfectly said. And that wraps up another deep dive here on AI Hub. If you enjoyed this look at DeepSeek and AI safety, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our future episodes. We'll be back soon with more fascinating topics from the world of AI. Until then, stay curious and keep learning.
Welcome to the AI Hub, a podcast for AI-driven side hustles designed for IT professionals like you.
From cutting-edge AI tools to practical, no-nonsense tips, each episode brings you closer to turning tech into income.
Tune in to discover smart and sustainable ways to boost your career and income with AI.